3 weeks after the peace treaty, Vrax traveled to meet Minho in person, not at the council station, not on Earth, but aboard a human vessel called the Morning Star. Vrax had never been on a human ship before. He expected it to be strange, alien. Instead, it felt comfortable. The gravity was adjusted to match his biology perfectly. The temperature was ideal. Even the lighting was calibrated for Vraxian eyes. A young human woman met him at the airlock. Ambassador Vrax. I'm Kyung, the captain. Ambassador Minho is waiting in the observation lounge. Follow me, please. She led him through corridors that were clean but simple. No elaborate decorations. No displays of wealth or power. Just functional spaces designed for living and working. The observation lounge had a wall of transparent metal showing the stars outside. Minho stood there looking out at the void. He turned when Vrax entered. Thank you for coming, Minho said. I know leaving council space is difficult for you. I needed to see, Vrax replied. To understand? Understand what? How we were so wrong about your species. Minho gestured to chairs. They sat. Between them, a small table held 2 glasses and a bottle of clear liquid. This is soju, Minho explained, pouring the liquid into both glasses. A traditional human drink from Korea. It's safe for Vraxian biology. I had it checked. Vrax accepted the glass. He didn't drink yet. I've spent the last 3 weeks reviewing everything. Every interaction between the Council and humanity. Every decision. Every judgment we made. And what did you find? A pattern of dismissal, Vrax said. We measured you against standards that didn't apply to your species. We looked for qualities you never claimed to have. We ignored the qualities you did have because we didn't value them. Minho sipped his drink. Go on. When you first joined the Council, we asked what makes humans special. You said nothing. You told us humans were average, ordinary. We took that literally. We never asked the follow-up question, which was, if you're ordinary, why do you succeed? Vrax set down his glass. That was the question we should have asked. Because you did succeed in everything you attempted, quietly, without drama. You solved problems, made improvements, helped others. We noticed the results but never examined the process. Minho nodded slowly. You're right. We are ordinary. No special abilities. No unique biology. Average intelligence by galactic standards. But you missed something important. What? Being ordinary means we have no advantages. No gifts, no easy paths. So we develop something else. We learn to work harder. Think differently. Adapt constantly. Try new approaches. Fail and try again. Keep going when others would quit. Minho refilled both glasses. The Council species are magnificent, truly. Some of you can survive in space. Some process information at incredible speeds. Some live for thousands of years. You're all remarkable in your own ways, but Vrax sensed there was more. But remarkable abilities can become weaknesses, Minho continued. When you're naturally good at something, you don't develop the habits necessary to overcome challenges. You rely on your gifts. When those gifts aren't enough, you don't know what to do. Vrax thought about this. It was true. Vraxian ships were fast because Vraxian biology allowed them to withstand high acceleration. They had never needed to develop better engines. Other species compensated for their limitations. Vraxians just used their natural advantages. Humans have no natural advantages, Minho said, so we developed adaptability instead. It became our culture, our philosophy, our way of life. When something doesn't work, we try something else. When the old path is blocked, we find a new path. We don't have the luxury of relying on gifts we were born with. Is that why you survived in the void? Vrax asked. Yes, the void is hostile to everyone equally. Our ordinariness became an advantage. We didn't have special abilities to lose. We just had determination and creativity. That was enough. Vrax drank his soju. It burned slightly but felt good. I need to ask you something directly. Ask. Why did you really help us? After everything we did, the mockery, the taxes, the dismissal, you had every reason to let the Kreth destroy us. Why help? Minho was quiet for a long moment. He looked out at the stars. Because we're not you, he finally said. The Council judges species by their value, their usefulness, their power. Humans judge actions by their morality. Letting innocent people die because we were angry at their leaders? That's not who we are, even after we wronged you. Especially then, Minho said firmly. Responding to cruelty with cruelty just makes more cruelty. Someone has to break the cycle. We chose to be that someone. Vrax felt something shift inside him. Shame, respect, admiration, emotions he rarely experienced together. The Council owes humanity everything, Vrax said quietly. No, Minho corrected. The Council owes humanity nothing. We didn't help you to create debt. We helped because it was right. There's a difference. Then what do you want? What we always wanted. Partnership, respect, to be treated as equals. Not because we proved ourselves worthy, but because every species deserves basic respect by default. Vrax's mandibles clicked in his version of a bitter laugh. We gave you none of that. We made you prove your worth. Then when you did, we still didn't respect you. We just found you useful. Yes, Minho agreed. That's exactly what happened. How do we fix this? Minho refilled the glasses again. That's the right question. Not will you come back, or what will you give us? But how do we fix what we broke? So how do we? It starts with understanding, Minho said. The Council needs to learn that different doesn't mean lesser. Ordinary doesn't mean worthless. Humanity isn't remarkable by your standards. We'll never be. We're fine with that. The question is whether you can be fine with it too. I can, Vrax said. But I speak for myself. The Council has 847 species. Many still see humanity as inferior. Then those species will continue to have problems, Minho said simply. Because humans aren't coming back to Council space. We've built something better in the void. Something where we're not judged by standards we can never meet. Something where our ordinariness is an asset, not a liability. Will you trade with us? Yes, fair trade. Equal terms, share technology. Selectively. Technologies that won't be used against us or others. Technologies that help instead of harm. Allow cultural exchange? Absolutely. We'd love that. Human artists would enjoy learning from Council species, and we have much to share as well. Military alliance? Minho hesitated. Mutual defense agreement. If you're attacked, we'll help. If we're attacked, you'll help. But we won't be your army. We won't fight your wars. Only defend against genuine threats to innocent lives. That's fair, Vrax admitted. More than fair, considering our history. They sat in silence for a while, watching the stars, drinking soju. Two beings from different worlds, finally understanding each other. Can I tell you something personal? Vrax asked. Of course. When I was young, I believed the Council was perfect, the culmination of galactic civilization. 847 species working together. It seemed like paradise, but perfection became stagnation. We stopped growing, stopped learning. We had all the answers, so we stopped asking questions. New species joined the Council hoping to learn from us. Instead, we taught them to follow our rules. Think like us. Be like us. Vrax's forearms moved in a gesture of regret. Humanity was different. You followed the rules but never stopped questioning them. You participated but never conformed completely. You made improvements without asking permission. You were exactly what the Council needed. A species that challenged our assumptions just by being yourselves. And you punished us for it, Minho said, but without anger. Yes. Because you made us uncomfortable. You made us question ourselves. That's terrifying when you've believed for centuries that you're right about everything. So what changed? Minho asked. You left, Vrax said simply. And we realized what we'd lost. Not because you were useful, but because you made us better. Your questions made us think. Your different approaches made us reconsider our methods. Your determination made us examine our own complacency. We weren't trying to change you, Minho said. We were just trying to be ourselves. I know. That's what made it so powerful. Vrax finished his drink. Ambassador Minho, I came here to apologize. On behalf of the Galactic Council and myself personally. We were wrong. About everything. We judged your species by standards that were unfair and irrelevant. We dismissed your contributions and mocked your requests. We treated you as lesser when you were simply different. I accept your apology, Minho said. But apologies aren't enough. I know. What else do you need? Change, Minho said. Real change. The Council needs to reform how it treats new species. Judge them as individuals, not by comparison to Council standards. Value different perspectives instead of demanding conformity. See diversity as strength instead of inconvenience. That will be difficult, Vrax admitted. The Council is ancient. Change comes slowly. Then change slowly, Minho said. We're not demanding overnight transformation. Just genuine effort. Progress over time. Start by treating the next species that joins the Council better than you treated us. Then do better with the one after that. Improve gradually. We can do that, Vrax said. I'll propose reforms when I return. Good, they stood. Vrax offered his hand in a human gesture of farewell. Minho shook it. Vrax realized the terrible truth. Nothing. Humanity needs nothing from the Council. They nev 10 years after humanity's departure, the Council faced a new crisis. A species called the Kreth had declared war. The Kreth were aggressive, militaristic. They had been held in check by complex treaties and diplomatic pressure for decades. But they had watched the Council's problems grow. They saw the agricultural failures, the trade disruptions, the general inefficiency that came from losing humanity's quiet contributions. The Kreth saw weakness. And they attacked. Their first strike hit 3 border worlds simultaneously. The attacks were coordinated and brutal. Council defense forces responded according to standard military doctrine. Fleet formations followed procedures developed over centuries. The Kreth destroyed them in hours. The problem became clear immediately. Council military strategy was based on predictability. Fleets moved in standard patterns. Responses followed established protocols. Everything was organized, efficient, and utterly predictable. The Kreth had studied Council tactics for years. They knew exactly what the Council would do in any situation. They built their entire military strategy around exploiting that knowledge. When Council fleets moved to defend Position A, the Kreth attacked Position B. When Council forces adapted and defended Position B, the Kreth had already moved to Position C. Every Council move was anticipated. Every response was countered before it happened. Within 3 months, the Kreth had captured 17 worlds. Vrax called emergency sessions every day. Military advisors presented plan after plan. All of them followed standard tactical doctrine. All of them failed. We need to change our approach, Grath suggested during one meeting. The Kreth are predicting our moves. We need to become unpredictable. Unpredictable? A military commander responded. Our strength is organization, coordination. Standard procedures ensure all our forces work together efficiently. They also ensure the enemy knows exactly what we'll do, Grath countered. That's impossible to change. Our military doctrine took centuries to develop. We can't just abandon it. Grath's crystal body flickered with frustrated colors. Then we'll keep losing. The war continued for 6 more months. The Kreth captured more worlds. Council casualties mounted. Morale collapsed. That's when Vrax received an unexpected transmission. The source was outside Council space. From the Void Territories. Vrax opened the communication alone in his office. The screen showed a face he hadn't seen in 10 years. Ambassador Minho. Older now. Gray hair at his temples, but the same patient expression. Hello, Vrax, Minho said. We've been monitoring the situation. We're prepared to offer assistance. Vrax felt relief wash over him. We accept. What are your terms? Minho smiled slightly. No terms, no treaties, no agreements that require Council approval. We help because it's the right thing to do. Not because we want something from you. I don't understand. Why would you help us after how we treated you? Because the Kreth are threatening innocent lives. Civilians who did nothing wrong, children, families, that's reason enough. Minho paused. Besides, it's an interesting problem. Humans enjoy solving interesting problems. When can you arrive? We're already here. Check your long-range sensors. We've positioned a fleet just outside Council space, waiting for permission to enter. Vrax checked the sensors. 20 human ships appeared on the display. Not a massive fleet, but they were there. Permission granted, Vrax said immediately. Transmitting military coordination codes now. Our forces will— No need, Minho interrupted. We don't work within Council military structure. We'll operate independently. Just tell us where the Kreth are and stay out of our way. Vrax hesitated. Independently? But coordination is essential for coordination makes you predictable, Minho said. The Kreth beat you because they know your doctrine. They've never fought humans. They don't know what we'll do. Because honestly, sometimes we don't know what we'll do until we do it, the human fleet. Entered Council space and headed directly for a Kreth-occupied world called Keltor 7, Council. Military observers watched with confusion. Commander, Suji led the human tactical response. She was young, maybe 30. Her ship was smaller than Council vessels. Less armored, but faster. The Council observers expected humans to request strategic briefings, tactical plans. Coordination meetings, standard procedure before any military engagement. Instead, Suji's fleet arrived at Keltor 7 and immediately attacked, but not in any pattern the observers recognized. Council fleets moved in formation. Ships stayed together. They provided mutual support and covering fire. It was efficient, organized, human ships scattered. Each vessel moved independently. They approached from different angles, different speeds. Some came in fast and aggressive. Others hung back. A few didn't seem to follow any plan at all. The Kreth responded with their standard counter-tactics. The tactics that had worked perfectly against Council forces. The tactics failed. When Kreth ships moved to intercept the aggressive human vessels, those vessels suddenly retreated. The cautious ships became aggressive. The pattern changed constantly. One human ship flew directly at a Kreth battlecruiser like it was going to ram it. The Kreth captain, confused but confident, prepared to destroy the tiny human vessel. At the last moment, the human ship dropped mines and spun away at an angle that should have torn the ship apart from G-forces. Somehow the human pilot pulled it off. The mines destroyed the Kreth battlecruiser. Did she just improvise that? A council observer asked. Improvise? His colleague responded. That wasn't even in human tactical database. She invented a new maneuver during combat. Another human ship was surrounded by 3 Kreth fighters. Standard doctrine said retreat. The human ship accelerated directly toward the planet's atmosphere. Diving into the gravity well, the Kreth followed. Confident. The human ship pulled up at the last possible moment, using the planet's atmosphere to brake. The Kreth ships, heavier and less maneuverable, couldn't pull up fast enough. They burned up in atmospheric entry. These humans are insane, a council military advisor said. No, Grath corrected, watching from the command center. They're creative. There's a difference. The battle for Keltor 7 lasted 8 hours. The Kreth, who had defeated Council forces in hours, couldn't adapt to human tactics. Every time they predicted what humans would do, humans did something else. Not because humans had a better plan, but because humans kept changing the plan. Suji's command philosophy was simple. When the enemy expects A, do B. When they adapt to B, do C. Stay random. Stay flexible. Never let them predict you. The Kreth retreated from Keltor 7, confused and battered. Over the next 3 months, human forces engaged Kreth fleets across 17 different worlds. Each engagement was different. No pattern, no predictable tactics. In one battle, humans pretended to retreat, then ambushed the pursuing Kreth from behind asteroids. In another, they hacked Kreth communication systems and sent false orders, causing Kreth ships to fire on each other. In a third, they simply flew their ships in seemingly random patterns until the Kreth commander had a breakdown, trying to understand what the humans were doing. While the Kreth sat there analyzing, human ships circled around and destroyed their weapon systems. They're not even following basic tactical theory, a Kreth commander reported to his superiors. They do things that make no sense, things that shouldn't work, but they work anyway. Give me an example, the Kreth High Command demanded. Yesterday, a human ship played music at our fleet. Music? Yes, loud music on all frequencies. While playing music, they danced their ship through our defensive fire, destroyed 2 of our cruisers, and left. We analyzed the music for hidden communications. There were none. They were just playing music. Why? We don't know. That's the problem. We don't know why humans do anything. We can't predict them. We can't counter them. They don't follow rules. Council observers began to understand. Humans hadn't won through superior technology. Their ships were adequate but not exceptional. They hadn't won through superior numbers. Their fleet was tiny compared to the Kreth. They won through unpredictability. The Kreth had built their military doctrine on one principle: study your enemy, predict their moves, counter them before they act. That principle worked perfectly against the Council. It failed completely against humanity. Because humans didn't have a military doctrine. They had guidelines, suggestions, general principles, but every commander made their own decisions. Every pilot adapted to their situation. No 2 human battles looked the same. It was chaos, inefficient, disorganized. It was also unbeatable. After 6 months of fighting humans, the Kreth sued for peace. Not with the Council, with humanity. Ambassador Minho met with the Kreth High Command on a neutral station. The meeting was brief. We request cessation of hostilities. The Kreth leader said. We'll withdraw from all occupied worlds. We'll pay reparations. We'll accept peace terms. Why are you negotiating with me? Minho asked. You're at war with the Council, not humanity. The Council we can fight, the Kreth leader said bluntly. We can't fight you. We don't understand you. Every battle costs us more because we can't predict what you'll do. It's not sustainable, Minho nodded. We'll accept your peace offer. But you'll negotiate reparations with the Council. You attacked them, not us. Will you leave after the peace is signed? That depends, Minho said. Will you honor the... 5 years had passed since humanity left Council space. The problems Grath had identified continued to grow. The Council spent billions trying to fix systems they didn't fully understand. Progress was slow. Vrax authorized exploration missions to find the humans. 3 missions returned with nothing. The void territories were enormous, and most of it was uncharted. The 4th mission never returned at all, lost to gravitational anomalies. The 5th mission, commanded by a Vraxian captain named Thex, finally found something. Thex's exploration vessel, the Far Seeker, had been searching for 6 months. The void was terrifying. Stars here were unstable. Planets drifted without suns. Gravity fields appeared randomly, crushing anything that came too close. Radiation levels spiked without warning. This was why no one colonized the void. It wasn't just hostile. It was chaos, Captain, the sensor officer reported. I'm detecting something. Artificial structures, roughly 6 light hours from our current position. Thex's mandibles clicked with excitement. Human? Energy signatures match human technology. But sir, these readings don't make sense. Explain. There are multiple structures, dozens, and they appear to be on a rogue planet. A rogue planet? Thex repeated. Rogue planets wandered through space without orbiting any star. They were frozen, dead, completely dark. No species in the galaxy could survive on one. Yes, sir, but the readings show active power generation, sustainable life support, atmosphere processors. This planet is inhabited. Thex ordered the ship forward. As they approached, his entire crew gathered at the viewing screens. What they saw was impossible. The rogue planet had cities. Actual cities. Lights glowed across the dark surface. Domed structures covered hundreds of square kilometers. Ships moved between orbital stations and ground facilities. Agricultural domes showed green vegetation thriving in the darkness. How? The sensor officer whispered. Scan for the power source, Thex ordered. Already done, sir. They're drawing energy from the planet's core. The entire planet is geologically active. They've built thermal extraction systems that tap directly into the molten interior. Thex studied the data. It was brilliant. Horrifying and brilliant. Rogue planets had no sun, so they were worthless to normal species. But their cores remained hot for billions of years. Humans had found a way to live on that heat. Send a communication request, Thex said. Standard greeting protocols. The response came quickly. A human face appeared on the screen. Male. Middle-aged. Calm expression. This is Commander Dowan of Outpost Serenity, the human said. Welcome to human territory. State your purpose. I am Captain Thex of the Galactic Council exploration vessel Farseeker. We've been searching for your people. The Council wishes to open dialogue. Dowan's expression didn't change. I see. Would you like to dock? We can provide supplies if you need them. The offer surprised Thex. After 5 years of silence, humans were being hospitable? That would be acceptable. An hour later, Thex and 2 officers stood in Outpost Serenity's main facility. The outpost was clean, efficient, temperature was perfect. Gravity matched Council standard exactly. Dowan met them in a conference room. Can I offer you refreshments? We have synthesizers that can produce food safe for Vraxian biology. Thank you, no, Thex said. He was too amazed to eat. Commander, I must ask, how do you survive here? This planet has no sun, no natural light, no warmth except from its core. Dowan smiled slightly. Humans evolved in caves, Captain. Darkness doesn't frighten us. As for warmth, geothermal energy is very efficient. And food, we've engineered crops that grow using artificial light. Bioluminescent bacteria provide supplemental lighting. It's really quite comfortable. But why here? Why choose the void? The smile faded from Dowan's face. Because no one else wanted it. We could build without interference. Without taxes. Without being told we're unremarkable. Thex felt shame, an emotion he rarely experienced. The Council may have been hasty in its judgment. May have been, Dowan repeated. Yes, that's one way to put it. Can I tour your facilities? Thex asked. I need to report back to the council. They'll want details. Darwin considered this. Very well, but understand what you see here is not for council use. We're not sharing our technology. We're simply showing you that we survived, that we thrived, without council help. The tour was stunning. Darwin showed them agricultural domes where crops grew in complete darkness, genetically modified plants that photosynthesized using different light wavelengths, bioluminescent organisms that lit entire farming complexes with soft blue-green light. He showed them the thermal extraction systems, massive pipes descending kilometers into the planet's mantle, heat exchangers that turned molten rock heat into electricity, efficiency ratings that exceeded anything the council had achieved. He showed them the habitation zones. Comfortable homes, schools, parks, recreational facilities, all underground or under domes. Humans living normal lives in a place that should have killed them. How many people live here? Thex asked. Outpost Serenity has a population of 47,000, Darwin answered. It's one of our smaller settlements. Smaller? How many outposts do you have? Darwin paused. That's classified information. Please, Commander. The Council needs to know. For diplomatic purposes. Darwin looked at Thex for a long moment. Then he pulled up a holographic star chart. The void territories appeared as a vast region of empty space filled with hazards. Dots of light appeared on the chart. Hundreds of them, scattered throughout the void like fireflies in darkness. Each dot is a human settlement, Darwin explained. We have outposts on rogue planets, stations positioned in gravitational tide zones, using the cosmic forces for power, habitats built inside asteroid fields, colonies on moons orbiting brown dwarfs. We've even established stations inside nebulae, harvesting rare elements from the gas clouds. Thex counted the dots. 347. This is in 5 years? This is in 5 years, Darwin confirmed. When you tell a human something is impossible, they hear it as a challenge. The void was supposed to be uninhabitable. We took that personally. But the hazards, the radiation, the gravitational anomalies. We adapted, Darwin said simply. Humans are good at adapting. It's our real talent. Not technology. Not strength, adaptation. The Council was looking for species with amazing abilities. They missed the species that doesn't need amazing abilities because it learns to work with whatever it has. Thex returned to his ship hours later. His mind was reeling. He composed his report to the Council carefully. He included detailed scans, population estimates, resource analysis, technological assessments, but the most important part of his report was his conclusion. The Council assumed humanity would fail in the void, Thex wrote. We assumed they would come crawling back begging for help. We were wrong. Humanity has not merely survived in the void. They have thrived. They have built a civilization in a region we considered worthless. They accomplished this not through superior technology or remarkable abilities, but through determination, creativity, and adaptability, qualities we dismissed as ordinary. The humans left Council space because we gave them no reason to stay. They went to the void because we believed they couldn't survive there. Every dismissal we gave them became motivation. Every insult became fuel. I have seen many civilizations in my career. I have visited hundreds of worlds, but I have never seen a species colonize the impossible with such casual efficiency. Humans call their achievement making do. They treat the extraordinary as routine. This, I believe, was what we missed. Humanity's ordinariness was camouflage. Underneath it lay something truly dangerous. Determination without limits. Vrax read the report 3 times. Then he called an emergency council session. The chamber filled quickly. Representatives from all 847 species attended. Everyone wanted to hear about the humans. Vrax projected Thex's scans onto the main display. Council members gasped, clicked, pulsed, expressed shock in 800 different ways. 5 years ago, Vrax said, we laughed at humanity. We called them ordinary, unremarkable. We increased their taxes and told them to accept their place. The chamber was silent now. They responded by doing something no species in Council history has ever done. They left not in anger, not in defeat, in simple, quiet determination to build something better. Vrax highlighted the star chart showing human settlements. In 5 years, humanity has colonized more of the void than we've explored in 2,000 years. They live on worlds we declared uninhabitable. They thrive in conditions we considered fatal. They solved problems we never attempted because we believed them unsolvable. We told them they needed our protection, Vrax continued. They proved they only needed opportunity. We told them they were ordinary. They proved that ordinary determination is more powerful than extraordinary ability. A council member stood. What do we do now? Vrax's forearms spread in a gesture of uncertainty. That depends on what you want. We could attempt to bring them back. But we'd need to offer something they can't build themselves. I'm not certain such a thing exists anymore. Trade agreements? Someone suggested. They're self-sufficient, Vrax answered. They don't need our markets. Technology sharing? They're developing technology adapted to the void. Technology we don't have and probably can't use. Then what do they need from us? 6 months had passed since the council meeting. Grath, the council's economics minister, stared at his data screens with confusion. Something strange was happening. Something that had never happened before. Grath was a Keltor, a species that looked like walking crystals. He processed information faster than most species. His mind could track thousands of economic patterns at once. Right now, all those patterns were showing the same thing. Humans were disappearing. Not violently, not dramatically. They were just leaving, quietly, completely, like water draining from a sink. The first sign was the markets. Human merchants stopped showing up to trading posts. Their shops closed overnight. When other species arrived to trade, they found empty buildings with signs that said closed. Thank you for your business. Then the research stations. Human scientists working on joint projects packed their equipment and left. They finished their current work first. They documented everything properly. They trained their alien colleagues on maintaining the equipment. Then they said goodbye and departed. Human doctors left hospitals. Human teachers left schools. Human engineers left construction projects. Human artists canceled their exhibitions. Human musicians stopped performing. Every human in council space was leaving. Grath sent inquiries to human colonies. The responses were polite but brief. We are relocating. Thank you for your concern. Nothing more. He checked immigration records. 0 humans entering council space. Thousands leaving every day. He checked communication logs. Human data traffic had dropped by 90%. The remaining 10% was just basic coordination for the exodus. Grath brought his findings to Vrax. This is not normal, Grath explained, his crystal body pulsing with anxious colors. Species don't just leave. They protest first. They make demands. They negotiate. Humans are doing none of these things. Vrax looked at the data. Perhaps they're simply accepting their place. Going somewhere more suitable for their limited abilities. Where? Grath asked. I've tracked every human ship. They're not going back to Earth, they're heading toward the Void territories. Vrax's mandibles clicked in surprise. The Void? Nothing lives there. It's cosmic wasteland. Dead planets, unstable stars, gravitational anomalies. No species has ever successfully colonized the Void. I know, Grath said. That's what concerns me. At the human colony of New Sol, Captain Taiho supervised the final evacuation. His ship, the Quiet Dawn, sat on the landing pad. Around him, families carried boxes toward waiting transports. An alien merchant approached him. She was a Delvari, a species with purple skin and too many fingers. She had run a successful trading partnership with the humans for 12 years. Captain Taiho, she said, please explain. Why are you leaving? We had good business together. Taiho continued directing cargo without looking at her. We're relocating. But where? And why? Better opportunities elsewhere. The Delvari's face showed confusion. Her species was known for reading emotions, but Taiho's expression gave nothing away. But there is nothing beyond council space, she insisted. Only the Void territories. That region is marked as uninhabitable, dangerous, full of cosmic hazards. Taiho finally looked at her. His face was calm, neutral. Yes, that's what we're counting on. I don't understand. I know, Taiho said simply. He climbed the ramp into his ship. Goodbye. It was nice doing business with you. The Delvari watched as the Quiet Dawn lifted off. She stood there as every other human ship followed. Within 6 hours, the colony was empty. Buildings stood vacant. Equipment was left behind, neatly organized and documented. The humans had even left instruction manuals for everything. But no humans remained. This scene repeated across council space. One colony after another became empty. Human research outposts went silent. Human merchant vessels stopped making deliveries. Human passenger ships canceled all routes. The exodus took 11 months. By the end, not a single human remained in Council territory. Vrax called an emergency council session. Members of the Council, he announced, the human species has completely withdrawn from our space. As of today, humanity is no longer participating in any Council activities. Where did they go? Someone asked. Long-range sensors tracked their ships entering the Void territories, Vrax explained. We've lost contact after that. The Void blocks most communication signals. Should we pursue them? Another Council member suggested. Demand they return. On what grounds? Vrax responded. They broke no laws. They paid all debts before leaving. They even left behind detailed instructions for maintaining the systems they built. Legally, they've done nothing wrong. This is unprecedented, an elderly species representative said. In 4,000 years of Council history, no species has ever voluntarily left. Perhaps, Vrax suggested, this is for the best. Humanity was unremarkable. Their contribution was minimal. We'll barely notice their absence. But Vrax was wrong. 3 months later, the first problems appeared. A major trading route between two systems suddenly became inefficient. Ships took 30% longer to complete the journey. Investigation revealed that human traffic controllers had been managing the route. They had optimized flight patterns in ways that saved time and fuel. The alien replacements didn't understand the system. They followed the old standard procedures instead. Result: trade slowdowns. Increased costs. 6 months later, medical problems emerged on several worlds. A viral outbreak on the planet Keltor 3 spread faster than expected. The alien doctors couldn't contain it. Investigation revealed that a human doctor named Bora had developed a rapid response protocol for that specific region. She had taught it to the local staff, but they had only memorized the procedures. They didn't understand why those procedures worked. When a new situation arose, they couldn't adapt. Result: 6,000 deaths before the outbreak was contained. 9 months later, entertainment networks reported a problem. Viewership was down 40%. People were bored. Investigation revealed that human artists, musicians, and writers had been contributing content that mixed different cultural styles in unique ways. Without that content, programming became repetitive, predictable. Result: economic losses in the entertainment sector. 12 months later, the agricultural crisis began. A human scientist named Hana had spent 30 years teaching sustainable farming across 17 Council worlds. She had adapted Earth farming techniques to different alien biospheres. She had shared everything freely. Aliens had followed her instructions and achieved record harvests. But Hana was gone now. And when unusual weather patterns struck those 17 worlds, the crops failed. The alien farmers followed the same procedures Hana had taught them. The procedures didn't work. They weren't designed for unusual weather. The farmers contacted Council agricultural experts. Those experts studied the problem and couldn't solve it. The techniques Hana had taught were simple, basic, but something about her approach was different. She had understood the underlying principles in a way that couldn't be captured in instruction manuals. Result: food shortages, rising prices, social unrest. Grath presented his findings to Vrax again. The pattern is clear, Grath explained. Humans were integrated into our systems far more deeply than we realized. They weren't doing anything spectacular, nothing remarkable, but they were doing thousands of small things we barely noticed, things we took for granted. Vrax studied the reports: trade problems, medical inefficiencies, agricultural failures, entertainment decline, infrastructure issues. Small problems individually, but together they added up to significant disruption. How did we miss this? Vrax asked quietly. Because we were looking for the wrong things, Grath answered. We measured humanity by our standards: advanced technology, unique biology, revolutionary discoveries. By those measures, they were ordinary. But we never asked what they measured themselves by. And what was that? Usefulness, Grath said. Humans didn't try to be special. They tried to be helpful. They solved problems wherever they found them. Not because they expected recognition. Not because they wanted power. They just did it. Vrax felt something he hadn't experienced in decades. Doubt. Can we fix these problems? He asked. Eventually, Grath said. But it will take years, maybe decades. We have to relearn everything humans were doing, and we're discovering that human thinking is difficult to replicate. It's not that they're smarter than us. They're just different. Send envoys, Vrax ordered. Find them. Offer them better terms. Convince them to return. Grath's crystal body flickered with uncertain colors. Sir, we don't know where they are. The void territories are vast, and there's another problem. What? I've analyzed human communication patterns before they left. They didn't flee in panic. They didn't leave in anger. They planned this carefully. The exodus was coordinated perfectly. Every human knew exactly what to do, so this wasn't an emotional reaction. It was a strategic decision. They didn't leave because they were weak. They left because we offered them nothing worth staying for. Vrax said nothing. Outside his office window, he could see the council station. Beautiful, advanced, perfect, except for the small cracks that were starting to show. The council chambers were designed to inspire awe. The circular room stretched 300 meters across, with seating for representatives from all 12 member species. High above, a dome of transparent metal showed the stars beyond. In the center stood the speaking platform, where those addressing the council would stand exposed to judgment from all sides. Vel'Thas sat in the observer section, watching as the council members filed in. This was an emergency session, called within hours of Harmony's light arriving at the station. Word had spread quickly. Humans had returned and the Ravagers were active again. The chamber buzzed with anxious conversation. Some council members looked curious. Others looked afraid. Elder Thressen stood on the speaking platform with Day, Hana, and Wu beside her. The three humans stood quietly, observing everything. Vel'Thas noticed how they positioned themselves, backs to each other, able to see in all directions. Even here, in the safest place in the galaxy, they maintained combat awareness. High Chancellor Drexavon called the session to order. He was from the Krell species, crystalline beings who communicated through light patterns. His translated voice sounded like wind chimes. Elder Thressen, please present your report. Thressen bowed respectfully and began. She described finding the humans in the quarantine zone. She explained how their ship had been attacked by Ravagers. She detailed how the three humans had saved her crew using tactics and thinking that no council species possessed. The chamber remained silent as she spoke. When she finished, the questions began. You claim these humans defeated 6 Ravager vessels? Asked Council Member Zixtar, a floating jellyfish-like being. How is that possible? Dee stepped forward. May I answer? Drexvon's light pattern shifted, the equivalent of a nod. Please speak. We used the resources we had, Dee explained. Your ship had shields, engines, sensors. We used them in unconventional ways. We studied the enemy's tactics and exploited their weaknesses. This is basic military strategy. Basic? Another council member spoke up, a fuzzy mammalian being named Peltix. We have no military. We have not fought wars in centuries. What you call basic is completely foreign to us. That is the problem, Wu said. He spoke respectfully but firmly. You have lived in peace for so long that you have forgotten danger exists. The Ravagers remember. They have been hiding, growing stronger, and now they have returned. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Council members shifted uncomfortably. Why should we believe the Ravagers are truly a threat? Asked another member. We saw them defeated once. Perhaps they learned peace as well. Hana shook her head. We accessed their communications during the battle. They spoke of reclaiming territory, of restarting their conquest. They called you soft prey and weaklings. They see your peace as weakness to exploit. The chamber erupted in worried conversations. Drexvon raised his crystalline arms, calling for silence. Let us address the larger question. Humans were quarantined for 10,000 years because you were deemed too dangerous. What has changed? Day took a breath before answering. Everything and nothing. We are still the same species that fought the Ravagers. We still have the instincts and abilities that made us dangerous. But we have also grown. We learned to control our violent nature. We built a civilization based on cooperation instead of conquest. We do not want to dominate anyone. We want to join you, to be part of the galactic community. But you admit you are still dangerous, Zixtar pointed out. Yes, Day said honestly. We will not lie about what we are. Humans are capable of violence, but we are also capable of choosing peace. For 2,000 years, we have not fought wars against ourselves. We have focused on science, art, exploration. We came to the stars hoping to find friends, not enemies. Peltic spoke again. What guarantee can you give us that humans will not become a threat? None, Hannah said bluntly. We cannot prove the future. No species can. You must decide based on our actions, not our potential. We saved Elder Thressen and her crew. We could have stolen their ship and escaped. We could have left them to die. But we chose to help. Because it benefited you, someone called out. You needed their ship to leave the quarantine zone. We could have taken their ship by force, Wu countered. 3 of us against 12 of them. With our training and their lack of combat experience, it would have been easy. But we did not. Because that is not who we are anymore. Veltha stood up, surprising himself. May I speak? Drexvan's lights flickered with curiosity. You are a witness to these events. Please share your thoughts, Scholar Veltas. Veltas walked to the speaking platform, his heart's racing. I have studied the old records. I have read about the ancient war between humans and Ravagers. And I have spent days with these 3 humans. I believe we face a choice that will define our future. He paused, gathering his courage. The Ravagers have returned. This is not speculation, this is fact. They attacked us without provocation. They will attack again. And we are not prepared. We have no warriors, no experience with combat, no instincts for survival against a determined enemy. What are you suggesting? Drexvan asked. I'm suggesting we need help, Veltha said. These humans saved us once. They can teach us to defend ourselves. Not to become warriors like them, but to understand tactics and strategy, to not be helpless when faced with violence. You want to invite predators into our home? Peltic said with fear in her voice. I want to invite survivors into our home, Velthas corrected. The records show that when humans fought the Ravagers, they also protected other species. They helped evacuate civilian populations. They shared their defensive technology. Yes, they were dangerous. But they were dangerous to threats, not to innocents. An older council member named Torgon spoke up. He was from the same species as Elder Thressen, and his 4 arms gestured with authority. I was present at the final vote 10,000 years ago. I was young then, but I remember. The decision to quarantine humans was not unanimous. Many of us argued they should be welcomed as protectors. We were overruled by fear. The chamber went silent. Torgon continued. For 10,000 years, we have lived in peace because the Ravagers believed humans were still guarding the galaxy. They feared human retaliation. But now they have realized the truth. Humans were locked away. We are alone, undefended. And they are coming. Drexvan's lights pulsed rapidly. You believe the quarantine actually created this situation? I believe we made a mistake, Torgon said firmly. We chose fear over wisdom. And now we have a chance to correct that mistake. More council members began speaking, debating. The chamber filled with voices arguing for and against accepting humanity. Finally, Drexvan called for order again. Humans, I have a question for you. If we reject you now, if we demand you return to isolation, what will you do? The 3 humans looked at each other. Then Day spoke. We would be disappointed. We would return to Earth and tell our people that the galaxy is not ready for us. But we would not stop exploring. We would not stop growing, and if the Ravagers threaten Earth, we would defend ourselves. And if the Ravagers threaten us? Peltix asked quietly, Honor answered. If you reject us, you have no right to ask for our help. The blunt honesty shocked the chamber. But then Hannah continued. However, humans have a saying, no one left behind. Even if you reject us, even if you fear us, we would not stand by and watch the Ravagers destroy innocent people. We would help. Because that is what humans do. We help those who cannot help themselves, Wu added. But it would be better for everyone if we worked together, if we shared knowledge and resources, if we became allies instead of strangers. Drexvan's lights dimmed in a way that suggested deep thought. The council will vote on this matter. But first I want to propose something unusual. Let the humans demonstrate their intentions. How? Asked Zixtar. Let them help us prepare defenses, Drexvan said. If the Ravagers are truly returning, we need to be ready. Let these 3 humans work with our security forces. Train them. Teach them. If they prove trustworthy over time, we can vote on full membership. If they prove dangerous, we can ask them to leave. And if they refuse to leave? Someone asked. Day smiled sadly. Then you would be right to fear us. But we would leave if asked fairly. We are not conquerors. The council debated for hours. Veltus watched from his seat, exhausted. Finally, Drexvon called for a preliminary vote. All in favor of allowing humans to assist with defense preparations, knowing we will vote later on full membership. Lights and colors and sounds filled the chamber as council members voted. Velthus held his breath. Drexvon counted, his lights pulsing with each tally. The vote is unaccepted by a narrow margin. The humans may stay and assist us. Relief flooded through Velthus. It was not full acceptance, but it was a start. Day bowed to the council. Thank you. We will not Minho walked through the long hallway point you. As the session ended and council members filed out, many approached the humans with cautious curiosity. Some kept their distance, but the mood had shifted from pure fear to uncertain hope. Velthus joined the humans outside the chamber. Congratulations. Thank you for speaking on our behalf, Hana said warmly. I only told the truth, Velthus replied. But the real work begins now. You must prove yourselves, we will, Wu promised. Days turned into weeks. The humans began working with council security forces.